My time playing of Ashen Steel was marked by barrages of fun moments and developmental fumbles. I was enthralled, baffled, bored, engaged, exasperated, and delighted in my playtime. Some of these feelings are to be expected for a brutal gothic-like action-adventure game, in the combat department while at low level at least, but these moments were dished out on pretty much every level and at such an odd tempo that it left me stupefied. One moment I was praising the story for a brash, brutal moment that played out well. The next I was confused by its lack of direction or sense. I would go from an engaging Pirates of the Caribbean-esque sword fight with a cursed skeleton to watching my opponents bug out mid-fight. This game has a lot of ups and downs, and the best way I can describe the experience is this. Things just sort of happen, and sometimes they chain together excellently, but oftentimes the game keel-hauls the player along on a buggy adventure. Ultimately, the only way to really display what I'm talking about is to get into the nitty-gritty and the details. So expect a spoiler-heavy review. You have been warned.
Treason! Seize this rotten freeman at once!
Of Ashen Steel is a third-person open-world RPG that follows Tristan, a cartographer tasked with accompanying an expedition to the island of Greyshaft, one of several islands that make up the Astartian Empire. The game's opening moments offer a lot of promise, and also a lot of jank. Tristan has slept in and is late for his departure, but his friend, Medez, wakes him up with some hijinks.
Never fear, princess. I'll break down this prison door and have you freed in no time.
Seriously?
Sorry, I got carried away.
I appreciate that you can feel the friendship between these two. They're basically brothers. Once we reach the harbor, we're greeted by the Knights of the Order of the Seven, religious knights who serve the king. Leading the expedition are Captain Gellert, a no-nonsense commander yet a fair man, and Sirdar, the captain's right hand, who wants to delay the expedition as he's weary of a coming cyclical natural disaster known as the Blight. The voice acting here is good, but the animations and dialogue speed are off. I can largely forgive clunky animations, but it feels like people are saying their lines at 1.5 times speed. The picosecond somebody stops talking, another person starts, and it harms the flow of the conversation.
Don't scare the poor man. There's no harm in waiting a little.
I ordered you to be here at noon. Follow my commands exactly from here on out. This isn't a pleasure cruise.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
That's the last thing I need.
Gellert?
What?
Can I speak with you a moment?
It feels like there's no time to dwell on what's being said, and there's a lot being said. At the same time, the lore is quite gripping, and it feels like we're getting all the proper details and a few hints of what's to come. There are references to the aforementioned Blight, which is a volcanic natural disaster that coats the island in ash that becomes immensely heavier as it comes into contact with water. It's noted that the outer islands of the Empire have stopped contact with the Empire, with rumors of secession swirling. We also learn that this whole mission we're going on is supposed to be a secret, adding some spice to the situation. We take off and reach our destination after a short cutscene, and the expedition has settled into a cove on Greyshaft as a temporary base of operations. We get a taste of the gameplay and quest structure by chatting with crewmates and helping out around the camp. You can see minor differences in the prologue depending on the options you choose. Like when the doctor asks you to fetch him some alcohol, you could give him all of it, or you could give some to the crew. Even basic conversations can yield tangible rewards, like when we're talking to Sirdar and we get points allocated to our character attributes depending on how we answer his questions. such as how we would deal with an ambush or being captured. We'll get into the intricacies of the attributes later, but just know that you can rack up a fair few points for these attributes around the camp. My favorite part has to be helping the deck boy, Fish, prove himself by fighting in front of the crew. You have to find a weapon, eventually getting the peg leg from one of the crewmates, who's all too happy to lend it out. I like this guy. It's quite buggy.
How goes it?
No cause for commotion.
What are you... Rather brutal. I hope he's alive.
Take care.
How goes it?
I am ready.
Let's go, Navigator.
No cause for
What'd
commotion.
you draw your weapon for?
That's rather brutal.
Excellent fight.
But there's heart here.
Well, come a trash. The whole crew will respect me now.
There was only really one thing that rubbed me the wrong way in the prologue. At one point, we're speaking to the navigator, who's upset that we were overcome by seasickness on our journey to the cove. He wants to grill us about our maps and cartography skills, so I chose the dialogue option, "I need more time to think," to give myself a second to think it over. Tristan ends up saying,
How about we skip your little tests?
this was a Fallout 4 level dialogue description fumble. While it wasn't the end of the world, it was a sign of things to come. We continue helping out around the camp and talk to Captain Gellert. Our conversation reveals that Tristan was an orphan who forged his own path in life by becoming a cartographer. I know a lot of people like the no background prisoner/amnesiac archetype for RPG games, but I think Tristan's backstory works well here. Talking to the people around the camp not only grants us tangible gameplay benefits via attribute points, but allows us to paint a picture of who our version of Tristan is. It's an excellent way to tie the gameplay into the story. We learn a little more about Gellert during our conversation as well. He's had to fight hard, bloody, morally grey battles he doesn't want to talk about or remember, and it's shaped him as a man.
They send the galley called Retribution when there is a direct threat to the king's authority. Or the foundations of our faith are disrupted. No negotiations, no trials, fair or otherwise. Just divine retribution at the tip of Order Knight swords.
And that happened on Greyshaft.
Unfortunately, yes. Those are bad memories, Tristan. Let's not stir them up.
I have a feeling we'll be cracking through that tough persona and learning about the man's darker secrets later on. Anyways, Gellert and Sirdar talk about who's gonna take the night watch and... Well, everyone we just spent the last hour helping is dead, save for Sirdar, who's gravely wounded.
Quit your complaining. Our mission is still to find Answer and give him the letter. Once it's in his hands, there'll be an order ship to take you straight back to the capital. Perhaps there'll be a place for me on that ship too. One willing?
But we can find a health potion and give it to him, and he dies regardless. At least we got an important quest MacGuffin letter from him.
The letter. He said that the order would help me get home.
It's our ticket off this island. I like how the pop-up says, "Welcome to Greyshaft." Now that's how you set the tone for a brutal setting. While this game has sins, many sins, which we'll get into later, Establishing and reinforcing Greyshaft's brutality is not one of them. On our way out of the disaster scene, we get knocked out and robbed. They took our MacGuffin letter. Once again, brutal. We're found unconscious by a man named Nerist, who drags us back to his cabin to recover. Nerist gives us a hard time for sleeping in, and Tristan defends himself by saying he was barely alive just a bit ago. Nerist responds by saying,
Don't know what this barely alive of yours is, Tristan. On Greyshaft, you're either alive or you're dead.
I like this line. It really emphasizes the cutthroat nature of the island and gives us a taste of the low quality of life people live with here. Our interactions with Nerist are the last stretch of this prolonged tutorial. He teaches us about Greyshaft and gives us a small list of chores to complete to pay him back for his aid. We move barrels, pick weeds out of his garden, and clean vodka bottles out of his home. A lot of vodka bottles. It's clear this man has demons, and the tattoo on his face gives the impression he was part of some sort of clan or gang, which he then admits to. My favorite part of their conversation is when Tristan goes,
Does anyone sane live here, or are you all criminals?
and Nerist is just like,
Well, first of all, thanks a lot.
I didn't...
And second of all, you're not far off.
After paying back his act of kindness, Nerist directs us to the nearby city, also called Greyshaft. So we head out to find answers and safety. Rather immediately, one of the game's persistent weaknesses comes into play. Following the road, we come across a man named Fox at a campsite who asks us for our help looting an abandoned village, offering to split the goods we recover. The rat creatures who inhabit the area are decently threatening for our low-level Tristan, but our companion dispatches them with ease. This illuminates a strategy that will serve us well into the mid-game. If you don't want to fight something, lure it into something else. This isn't the weakness I was referring to though. In fact, I praise the game for allowing this crafty strategy. The problem arises when this shifty character inevitably betrays us, locking us in a house and running off with the loot. It's now our job to track him down, but the game doesn't give us any indication as to where he went. I understand that games like this aren't supposed to be handholdy, but there's a difference between no handholding and no direction. There was simply no breadcrumbing or logical indication as to where he would be. When I think no handholding, I think no quest markers are blatant. He's in the cave next to the fishing town type instructions in the quest log. What I got was, he's somewhere, go get him, champ. We find him quite a bit further up the road, which to developers might seem intuitive, as they have knowledge of which way is forward. For a new player though, there are multiple paths and large swaths of wilderness to explore. On top of that, the enemies on the main path aren't easy for us at such a low level. Heck, I didn't even have weapons or armor yet because I forgot to get them from the chest in Nerist's house. But even when we're armed, they're daunting. Usually games put a bunch of tough enemies as a don't go here yet type warning. Think Cazador's on the northern route in Fallout New Vegas. And this area is heavily saturated with wolves, giant bugs, and goblins. At the same time, this is the main path forward towards the city of Greyshaft. While we'll eventually come this way regardless, finding the guy is dependent on us deciding to follow this specific path forward and ignoring the powerful enemies. Then we find him surrounded by rats. I had no way to deal with them, so I just spoke to him and he acted like I did. After our conversation, I hear him turn hostile to the rats and then he disappears.
Quickly!
This was confusing and janky, and it's far from the only time the game shows its rough edges. Just slightly further on, we meet a hunter named Jiri who offers to walk with us towards the city. While we're walking together, his and Tristan's voice lines bugged and overlapped while walking by a giant statue that looks like Tristan?
Idea of our men sending out patrols, but they told
What
me
a
there are
lovely
more
place.
important things to worry about.
What's that statue?
So I'm doing it on my own for now.
That's the
Standing
Prime
Watch Strider's
myself.
monument. An eternal tribute to the first folk to set foot on Greyshaft.
These are some of the tamer examples of the game's jank. Other times we're straight up given inaccurate information and not in an unreliable narrator sort of way, but as a mistranslation or oversight. Hey, go find this guy in the outskirts, outside of the city. He's in the city. Hey, meet me back here when you're done with that task I gave you. He's gone somewhere else, and he's only there at night. Go find the guy wearing the red band. He's not wearing a red band, he's wearing a blue one. All of this misinformation makes it hard to trust the game, and lends to a frustrating experience. We don't get a map until Act 2, and we don't get fast travel until Act 4, so we're really reliant on receiving accurate instructions. If I'm being honest, I used guides on YouTube after reaching my wit's end a few times, often after game-breaking bugs occurred. Shout out to Wizardworm for his excellent videos, which helped me out of a tough spot more than once. Thanks to a constant stream of powerful enemies, low stat numbers, and a lack of gear, the opening act of the game is rather humbling. In order to transform Tristan from a defenseless whelp to a certified weapon, you'll need to dump attribute points into your stats. Tristan's attributes include strength, dexterity, stamina, insight, and fortitude. Strength dictates how much damage you do with swords and crossbows, dexterity applies to rapiers and bows, stamina is the resource for swinging a weapon or running, insight is used for a lot of speech checks and dictates critical hit chance, and fortitude gives you more health and overall damage resistance. Given that all weapons either have a strength or a dex requirement, increasing these stats is paramount to your progress, usually choosing one over the other to maximize effectiveness. You can get points to increase these attributes in a variety of ways. The most straightforward way is to gain XP and level up, which grants you 3 points to distribute as you please. Another way is to find a shrine and exchange gold for points, but at an exchange rate of 2,000 gold for a single point, it's pricey. Oftentimes you'll get an attribute point just by passively playing the game. Reading books, choosing certain dialogue options, finding, brewing, or buying attribute potions, and slaying the powerful alpha variant of monsters are some of the way you'll get extra points. One time I took a second to look out over a pretty pond and got +1 insight. I think that's neat, and it's only one of the ways the game encourages exploration. It felt like everywhere I went I was finding cool loot if I took the time to look around. This game is not stingy with handing out points or loot by any means. There's even a list of small hidden challenges and conditions that give you attribute points or other bonuses upon completion. For example, at the start of the game you'll trip over logs and slip in puddles when running near them. If you fumble enough times, you'll unlock a perk that prevents it from happening. There are a bunch of little hidden goals like this, and they really add to the feeling of progress. It's like Tristan is learning from trial and error, and really shifting from a Grey Shaft newbie to a hardened veteran of the island. You can go almost anywhere at any time, so questing provides valuable structure, granting progress and rewards. You can reliably find a few quests by going to new areas and speaking to just about anybody, but joining a guild is a good way to gain a consistent flow of quests and XP. There are 3 guilds to consider: the Gravedigging Guild, the Mercenaries, and the Smugglers, and you can only join one. I opted for the Mercenaries, and went in expecting a morally grey crew of ruffians who would do just about anything for coin. And what I got was a rather pragmatic group of ruffians who recognize that Grey Shaft's lack of a reliable justice system makes their guild the next best option. You're not being sent to annihilate a puppy orphanage for some wealth. You're being sent to perform the crowd-funded assassination of a prostitute killing 1%er who's eluded the justice system thanks to his deep pockets and stately connections. The Mercenary Guild is the GoFundMe of murder, and the governor of Greyshaft, Ratwald, turns a blind eye to it, either because he knows his own forces are corrupt and incompetent at crime fighting, or because he is as well. Pretty much every area has at least a handful of people willing to tell you about how incompetent and evil Ratwald is, so my bet is on the latter. This brings us to the combat itself, which feels satisfying or scuffed depending on where and what you're fighting. You have a basic attack for dishing out quick damage and a heavy attack to stagger enemies, possibly even knocking them off their feet. Defensive options include dodging or parrying, and pretty much all of these actions consume stamina, which you'll want to keep an eye on. Accidentally swinging at low stamina will lock you into a slow, low damage attack that leaves you wide open to get mauled by whoever or whatever you're facing, and it's practically a death sentence if you're facing multiple opponents at a lower level. There's an option to lock on to your opponent, but it's exceedingly clunky when fighting groups. While locked on, you'll move like you're orbiting around the enemy, and your dodge feels warped by that orbit. Moving closer and further are the same, but moving side to side has you circling around your foe. If you're in a battle and another enemy appears behind you, it can get hard to manage. I would suggest only using the lock-on option in short bursts and when all enemies are in front of you. I said that the enjoyability of combat depends on what you're fighting as well, so let's start with Greyshaft's wildlife. Attacks from some animals feel random and hard to react to, which is realistic, but awkward in a gameplay sense. Wolves will randomly lunge and bite, which I have never successfully parried. The attack doesn't really have much of a wind-up or visual cue. They just sort of propel themselves forward. Same goes for some attacks from rats. Sometimes wolves will jump back before attacking, but not always, and occasionally they'll spam dodges and become unhittable. Other times they'll bug out and run around without attacking. That last part goes for bug enemies as well. Speaking of bugs, there are plenty of them underground, but their hitboxes are often too big for the caves and mine shafts they're stationed in, so they get stuck in spots with timber sets or narrow corridors. If you have a ranged weapon, you can cheese a lot of underground sections by plinking away at trapped bugs or larger boss enemies. It beats fighting them up close, as the camera would sometimes struggle in close quarters like caverns or basements. There are also these hulking beasts called rovers, which take a while to fight as they have a lot of health, but they're easy to evade. For some reason, firing a bow at them will stagger you. This is all to say, fighting animals in this game is mostly a mess. There are good parts to the combat, mostly against humanoid opponents who can actually wield weapons, which leads to some good back and forth, giving fights a lively feel. Their attack animations are better telegraphed, too. The actual act of smacking, slashing, and poking enemies with your weapons feels good, with visceral feedback on successful hits and clashy feedback when enemies parry. There's something so rewarding about successfully defeating a small camp of low-level goblins after struggling against just one. Then you'll immediately get humbled against enemies just one rank stronger. This is a common pattern, as there are multiple ranks of enemies. Take the Woodwalker, for example. In order of strength, there's the Young Woodwalker, the Adult Woodwalker, and the Alpha Woodwalker. If you're just barely able to edge out a fight against a Young Woodwalker, then the rest of them will brutalize you. You'll be looking for any advantage you can get, and one of the most potent of these advantages is skills. Along with 3 attribute points, leveling grants you 1 skill point to drop into one of 3 skill trees: Survival, War, and Crafting. Survival covers rapiers and bows, granting bonus damage, bleed effects, and special abilities like powerful thrusts and shots, throwing knives, poisons, and the ability to use your environment to your advantage, like kicking a wine bottle at your opponent. This tree also covers its namesake, survival skills, which allow you to build campfires to rest, collect pelts and trophies while hunting, and the final skill gives you a passive health regeneration of 0.5% of your maximum health per second, which is insanely powerful. 2 of the most important aspects of this skill tree, however, are the lockpicking and pickpocketing perks. The latter is a minigame where you have to carefully feel around a victim's pockets before a notice meter ticks all the way down, selecting tiles on a 3x3 square. If you get unlucky, you'll pick a tile that pushes the meter further down. If you're lucky, then you'll find gold, valuable items, or skill potions. Honestly, it's a refreshing take on pickpocketing in video games, striking the perfect balance of RNG and engagement. Then there's lockpicking. I heard there's a lockpicking minigame, but I had high enough dexterity when I unlocked it to avoid the hassle altogether. I ran around Greyshaft looting every single home I came across. I made tens of thousands of gold this way. It's a simple process. Run in, open the chest on the 2nd floor of the house, grab loose valuables, then hit the next house. It's actually better to rob people during the day while they're out and about, or downstairs, as you can just run past them and steal everything on the upper level of the house with no repercussions. NPCs go to sleep at night, but for some reason they can detect your theft in their slumber. Chests don't count as theft here, so you can still raid those, but it's still better to go during the day anyway. You can bulk sell your ill-gotten gains to Mix, who lives in the outskirts right outside of Greyshaft. Once you've liquidated your assets, you can go to Greyshaft's bank to deposit your gold, which pays interest every 30 minutes at a maximum of 1,000 gold per half hour. It took about 40,000 gold deposited to get this 1,000 gold per 30-minute output. An important note, 1,000 gold is the max that can be held as well as gained, so waiting 2 hours to visit the bank won't yield 4,000 gold, it'll stall at 1,000. However, what you can do is visit at exactly 59 minutes, collect the 1,000 gold being held, then wait 1 minute to grab the next batch of 1,000 gold. This might sound like a hassle, which it is, but being granted a free skill points worth of gold every hour is invaluable. It's by far the most effective method for gaining skill and attribute points outside of glitching, which we'll get into later. At the end of the day, you could either spend 40,000 gold on 20 attribute points immediately, or gain 1 point's worth of gold per hour for the rest of the game, which ran about 100 hours for me. Be the kid who waits for 2 marshmallows. Getting back on track, the war skill tree is like the survival tree but without the utility. It's purely focused on battle, whether that be inflicting damage, opening enemies up for hits, parrying enemy attacks, or pelting enemies with crossbow bolts. If you want to brute force your way through the game, then this tree seems to be the way to go, though I only really dabbled in war for the parry ability. Then there's the crafting tree, for those who want to forge their own way. Literally. This tree offers basic crafting, honing, and reinforcing your weapons and armor. Mining for minerals, crafting valuable jewelry, and eventually, forging your own weapons. Everyone, strength or dex, can benefit from the buffs the crafting tree offers. Though the grindstone minigame is clunky, requiring the player to hit W, A, S, or D, or some combination of 2 keys. It feels like it would be better suited for controllers with joysticks, which is odd considering how the game has not launched on console. Later down the line, the skill tree gets a little more specialized, so it might be not worth the points to pursue it further. Between attribute points, 3 skill trees, and a variety of weapons and armor, there are plenty of ways to progress. But it definitely feels lopsided towards strength in one regard. Here's what I mean. There are various levels of weapon and armor, like common, good, fine, and legendary. Naturally, you're going to want the legendary gear. Throughout my time playing of Ashen Steel, I found about 14 or 15 legendary strength weapons, some of which had cool effects like healing the player after kills. Can you guess how many legendary dex weapons I found? 3. I found 3 legendary dex weapons. At one point in the game, you find an ancient forge that requires a crafting perk nestled deep in the crafting tree to use. The sword you can make is called The Legend, and it's fully customizable. You can even feed other legendary weapons to the legend to make it stronger. Would it surprise you if I told you that the legend is strength-based? I know that the survival tree offers more utility, and I had a good time with my dex build, but strength having about a dozen more legendary weapons, some with unique effects, plus the special forgeable weapon, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I can't pickpocket people to death. I mean, sure, yeeting a conveniently placed spear at my opponents is fun and all, but I'm missing out on so much combat variety. We'll get to that. Then again, it could be a grass is greener scenario where strength users are seething with jealousy at my pocket sand. Quick note. As I'm editing this, a patch dropped that increases the gold price for attribute points to 5,000 per point, meaning it's 1 attribute point per 2.5 hours of bank interest accumulation time. No clue why they made this balance change, as it just makes the game even more grindy. I'm not sure if I'd count this as a strike against dex builds, as getting money is one of their whole things, but this falling tide certainly lowers all ships, strength and dex. Once again, zero clue why they did this. Anyways, back to the video. Let's shift focus to the aesthetics of Greyshaft. I have a lot of praise for this game's art direction. Every detail of the island lends itself to a mystical atmosphere, from the large crystals that jut from the landscape, to the glowing red eyes of the wolves, to the visually distinct points of interest. This game does an excellent job with enemy design, as even more mundane enemies have cool stylistic elements. The undead may just be zombies, but the ominous otherworldly eldritch whispers that emanate from them add so much to their presentation. It's like they're just vessels for some ancient greater power. I like how animals and undead won't really fight each other, as if they're in tune with the island and thus allies, reinforcing that zombies are just fleshy golems for the island to command to its defense. I mean, wolves and zombies both have glowing red eyes, so maybe I'm onto something here. The fact that I can even make theories like that based off of the aesthetics of the game is a good sign. On top of being visually and audibly distinct, enemies have cool combat animations. Nothing spices up a goblin fight like them throwing each other at you in a team attack move. Other times, towering Goliaths will catch you in their clutches and slam you around like a rag doll. Then there's this guy, the Tooked. I found a whole 2-page book about these guys. According to the text, they're undead entities bound by an oath to return a certain dead body to the coffin on their backs. But the amount of time it takes for them to rise from the dead is longer than it takes for that body to decompose. The bodies they're searching for have all since withered away, causing them to wander graveyards in a mental haze, attacking passers-by as what little cognition remains guides them in an attempt to fulfill their oath. That's some dark lore right there. I wish the monster's full story weren't split between 3 or more books, as I only found the middle installment. Honestly, I wish I found more books in general. Despite extensive exploration, I only had found a handful of books by the end of the game, but like the Took story, most of them were middle entries. The game's weakest elements in the aesthetics department are its camera angles, animations, and audio mixing. As stated before, the camera bugs out during fights in close quarters, but it also struggles in cutscenes at times. There's no amount of camera work that can save a scene when an NPC is phasing through a tree, or when we get the POV of the Lysan Tristan's hair or Nerist's mustache. Animations are often rough, usually due to how stiff and awkward people's faces can be. If none of this puts you off of a cutscene, then you'll be happy to know that you might not be able to hear it anyway because of the poor audio mixing.
Well, I remember one. He had shaggy red hair and a beard down to him. The other one was almost entirely bald, but his head was tiny, with big ears.
That's something.
I can see it in your eye.
For starters, come back and see.
Trying to hear NPCs over the overpowering background music or weather was a struggle, even when I turned down the music volume to 15%. Still, I've got to praise the game for its weather effects. They're beautiful, especially during storms. The ambiance is also quite great. I mean, just listen to the atmosphere in this graveyard. If you couldn't tell by now, this game is constantly janky and it often hurts the experience. There are 3 categories of issues here: odd design choices, oversights, and bugs. An odd design choice is something that was an intentional addition to the game, but it harms the experience. Oversights cover the misinformation I covered before, like telling a player that the NPC they're looking for is wearing purple, but they're wearing yellow. Bugs are bugs, errors in code or implementation. There are plenty of problems in each category. Many times corpses become unlootable for no reason. Sometimes characters' names would be in other languages. Story NPCs become invisible, enemies got stuck in the air, a mountain became invisible, enemies would get stuck on objects, and I think I fought the same bandit boss named Rohan the Dark 3 to 5 times. At one point I found a bottle of wine in a cave that I could keep looting forever. I later did the same with some onions. I was snacking on these items for the rest of the game, which really nullified the survival mechanics. Oh, did I forget to mention the survival mechanics? Well, they were pretty much non-existent even before I found infinite food or water, except for when they bugged out, so drinking water wouldn't make my thirst go away. These are just a few bugs I experienced. I'll sprinkle others into the rest of the review. There might be a lot of problems, but the game does have its strong suits. Everything this game presents to you reinforces that Grayshaft is a harsh place, from the opening to the dialogue with NPCs to the environmental storytelling. The world building is compelling, and I loved hearing tales of the Blight from peasants. One farmhand girl told me that during the last Blight, they were pretty much just at the mercy of the ash, and her and her family had to wait for their neighbors to dig them out of their house. The brutal way Grayshaft is set up led to a great moment while I was exploring. At one point I walked up to a burly bandit and he asked me if I had any gold. When I told him no, he told me,
Come now, that won't do. Here, need gold nowadays, you do. Farewell.
Gave me some gold and went on his merry way. The only reason a gag like this works is because everything else has been so cruel. A solid 80% of the time somebody asks you to follow them, they're probably going to pull a knife on you. It's practically an immutable law of Grayshaft like gravity or friction. It's a brilliant inversion of player expectations that solidifies Grayshaft as having upside-down morals compared to Astarta. Despite how harsh Grayshaft can be, that doesn't mean it only takes. Exploration is frequently rewarded, more so than any other game I've played. Just about every time I've strayed off the beaten path to check out some odd point of interest, I found loot. There are enchanted rings, legendary weapons, skill potions, and funny Easter eggs around every corner. As a general rule of thumb, caverns and crypts hold the best rewards and the most powerful enemies. Sometimes these crypts will have hidden conditions for entry, and you'll have to look around the area for a note that gives you a strong hint on how to enter. Though my favorite find was a guy waiting by the side of the road willing to sell his old ruined house. Apparently he's from Senta, another island of the Empire, and he lost his previous home in a fire. He's poor, with no permanent lodgings for his family and no money to fix the place up, so it's just a burden. That's where we come in. He gets some gold, we get the house, which he enthusiastically agrees to. When Tristan asks for the deed, the man simply says that he'll back us up in court if it comes to that. It's a really good glimpse into the anything-goes legal system of Greyshaft. Beyond the world-building aspect, you can upgrade the house and it'll provide you with bonus attribute points, a place to store your gear, and a bunch of different crafting options. Though for some reason a rat appeared and left droppings on the floor, which played this audio cue whenever I entered for the rest of the game.
Oh, disgusting. Clearly there's a pest in here.
Still, it's very rewarding to furnish and upgrade, and it gives players a little of that Greyshaftian pride. It's time to delve deeper into the game's story, and what a story it is. Like I warned you before, this review is spoiler heavy, but this next section is where the bulk of the spoilers lie. Since you landed on the island of Greyshaft, you've been in constant danger. It's only natural that Tristan wants to leave, so the moment you get to the city, your goal is to seek out a boat to take him back to Astarta. The problem is, with the impending blight looming over the island, all of the ships are anchored and taking precautions to survive the ash. There's only one man who has a ship that's suited for travel during the blight, and he wants thousands of gold, a steep price to pay early on. Naturally, I turned to leave, and was met by a member of the Order, who asks us to follow him. Tristan forgets the 80% rule, and almost gets shanked in a back alleyway by an apparently fake Order knight. Seems he's trying to tie up loose ends from the attack on the expedition back in the Cove. We only survive because a mysterious, roguish man named Irvin comes to the rescue. Our savior seems experienced and battle-hardened, and after hearing our predicament, he gives advice. Get friends in high places.
I'm just a cartographer! What am I supposed to do?
Find someone stronger than you to watch your back.
You?
No. I am but a lone man, leading a solitary life. You need someone with power. Status. That may well be. But every dog around here... Oh, I keep doing that. That may well be. But every dog around knows that getting in their way only ends badly.
From here on out, Tristan's goal is to join one of two factions for protection. The Order of the Seven, the established yet diminished knights who serve the Empire, or the Free Hunters, a band of free people who opposed the governor's tyranny. I went with the Free Hunters, as they sounded better for a dex build. The Free Hunters' domain is tucked away past a crack in the mountains, past a bridge, and then another crack in the mountains, all following winding, forking paths. It's still Act 1, mind you, so finding them without a map can be a headache. After quite a bit of travel, we reach their leader, the powerful and respected Kurt.
Hello.
Ho, stranger. Who are you?
My name is Tristan.
Very well, Tristan. What is your business here?
A friend of mine said I should come here.
Really? What might your friend's name be?
Irvin.
I didn't know he had any friends. Well, my name's Kurt. Welcome to the Free Hunters camp.
He tells us that in order to join the group, we need to complete 3 trials, each one handed to us by a high-ranking member of the Free Hunters called a Falcon. To simplify, these trials are to kill a unique creature, find a frozen flower, and climb a tower to claim a slice of the tapestry that's flying at the top. The first 2 went off without a hitch. Zeroing in on the last one, however, I got hit with a bug. Regardless, we complete the final quest, return to Kurt, and he says we've got 1 trial left. He's noticeably apprehensive about answering our questions, like he's getting annoyed at our prudence.
Did you complete it too?
Enough questions, Tristan. You have to make a decision. Tell me if you are ready to attempt the final trial. Bear in mind that once you accept,
There's no turning back.
At this point, we just have to take a leap of faith and undergo the trial of the tree. Oh, this isn't so bad. Just touch the tree. What? The fact that Kurt did not communicate that this was a possible outcome is wild. It's not even touched on afterwards. I'm so curious as to what causes this. Can the tree detect ill intent? Is it pure RNG? Did Kurt simply dislike the cut of the guy's jib? Who knows? Anyways, with the trial of the tree complete, Act 2 has started and we're a free hunter now. So we go back to discuss next steps. Our conversation with Kurt turns to the topic of our circumstance in arriving in Greyshaft, as well as the mysterious letter that those bandits stole from us in the beginning. As you may have guessed, we now have to get that letter back. This involves finding Irvin and going with him to investigate the cove from the start of the game, and there's something clearly stalking the area. We find out that it's just one of those zombies we've already seen, but what really hits like a truck is what's in his inventory. Searching the creature after its defeat reveals a peg leg. The game doesn't shine a beacon on this and go, hey, remember that guy from the beginning who died? Remember how he had a peg leg? Remember him? Isn't that sad? It's just a natural moment of depressing realization. Man, we never even gave him his leg back. He must have crawled to find it. We also find a cartography set in the cove. We can start filling it out by finding marked overlooks, which I would recommend speedrunning for convenience. Returning to Irvin, it's clear we're being followed, but Tristan never brings it up, despite the fact that just a little earlier somebody tried to lure him into an alleyway to kill him. A high moment, followed by an awkward one. Irvin finds the corpse of one of the robbers who took our letter, and recognizes him as a man of war, a notorious gang on the island, and the same one Nerist belongs to. This lead makes finding the letter a lot easier, giving us a solid set of breadcrumbs to follow. It's only a matter of time now before we get our hands on it. We ping-pong from Nerist to the gang's leader, Mazar, who informs us that the guy who has the letter defected, so killing him is in our mutual interest. Mazar's still a bandit though, so he has us clear the bugs out of his basement before he'll give us the man's name. Luckily we have Irvin with us to take down the big bug boss, and he puts in work. After that little detour, Mazar gives us the info we need to find our thief, Ruck. We track him down to the swamp and the dialogue is rough.
You came.
It's been a while. Remember me? I'm here for my letter.
It's cursed, you know. Crypt's gaze follows all who touch it.
Give it to me, or else the bony one will fix his eye on you.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of anyone anymore. Well, since you came, take it. It's a gift.
You stole it. It can't be a gift.
Then beat it.
I'm not leaving without the letter.
Then take it from me!
We get into a borderline Looney Tunes level fight with him.
You like that? It's only going to hurt more.
Secure the letter and take it back to Kurt. Apparently it has runes on it though, so it has to be professionally dealt with by a rune master named Dinesh who has a shop in the city. We take it to the expert and he gets shaken down while we're waiting outside. The assailant escaped, but he didn't get the letter. Dinesh was able to finish his work, and we take the letter, once again, back to Kurt. You've probably noticed by now that a good deal of this game is traveling vast distances just to relay simple information or tasks, usually along the same roads. While this game is great at encouraging exploration through rewards and, hey, what's that cool thing over there? Game design, running back and forth between distant locations isn't very engaging, especially since enemies you've slain don't respawn until you reach a new act. Honestly, it's kinda torturous, especially since Tristan can only run a short distance before needing to slow down and regain stamina. Despite the game handing out attribute points rather generously, how much each point actually contributes can be quite low. I dumped a whole level's worth of points into stamina just so I could run a little further without needing to rest, and it barely did a thing. I started thinking, this game could really use a few mounts. And just when I started thinking that, I came across a man who had laid eyes on the last horse on Greyshaft. He was willing to show us in exchange for our help catching it, and will split the proceeds if we sell it. Though I recommend keeping it, as the sheer quality of life that comes with the faster travel speeds is great. It's an amazing quest. The horse is fast and powerful, and yeah, no, he lures us into an ambush and tries to kill us. There is no horse. He will suffer 1,000 more miles on foot. We get the letter to Kurt only after he gets mad at us that we're in his house before he's had his morning coffee, draws his sword on us, and finds us 125 gold. I know this is the standard NPC response to entering the house too early in the morning or too late at night, but I feel like the devs could have made an exception here for the sake of convenience and logic. Once he settles down, we talk to him again, follow him back to the sacred tree from the trial, and he bugs out and speaks to us with the voice of one of the other free hunters.
Well, do you have everything you need?
Yes, Chieftain. The time has come.
Let's go, Tristan.
The letter is read, and it's revealed that the outer twomost islands have fallen to some mysterious force, and it's up to Greyshaft to raise its own militia without the aid of the king. Kurt seems unsurprised by the king's unwillingness to help Greyshaft, noting inequality in how the king treats the islands.
What is important is that we know we are on our own. The king's message doesn't surprise me at all in that respect. I'm sure Mior and Tantares are getting plenty of attention from the capital right now because they're sources of food and military strength. Perhaps they'll aid Center as well because of the smithies. But Greyshaft was shoved aside long ago. We can only count on our own strength. Most of the population will be behind us.
It seems that the islands closest to Astarta are favored, with those further out needing to offer some sort of innate tactical importance to be valued. Despite the rough lead up to this scene, it gives us a nice glimpse into the world. You can tell there's a certain pride in the people of Greyshaft. Despite the fact that they're in desperate times on an already desperate island and unfavored by the king, they still press on. They're the weeds growing in the cobblestone path and they know it. With an invading force imminent, Kurt prepares to dethrone the incompetent Governor Ratwald to give the island a better shot at survival. To gain a tactical advantage in our coming war with Ratwald, we have to secure a fort that's just outside of the city of Greyshaft and the outskirts. But there's a problem. It's been occupied by a moon-worshipping cult. They're non-violent and they've endeared themselves to the people of the island, so we can't harm them. We have to pressure them to leave through other methods. When we get to the fort, we find an older gentleman outside named Carl. He tells us that his daughter has been enthralled by the cult, and he needs our help to get her back. You see, Carl and his daughter are estranged, as when his wife died, the man fell into his work to cope, neglecting his daughter Martha. Now he wants to get her back home, and it's our job to help. We can enter the fort and talk to her, and she's a kind, soft-spoken young woman who's renamed herself to Lyra. She tells us about her loving goddess, Luna, who actually cares about mortals as opposed to the gods of the Order of the Seven. Honestly, it makes sense that the youth on Greyshaft would seek out a kinder deity, as the current pantheon appears to be doing squat to help. When Lyra asks us what we're doing at the fort, we can lie, saying that we're there to catch moths, and she'll believe us entirely, giving us a special moth-catching jar.
You won't believe this, but I'm a moth catcher.
How wonderful. I never knew there was such a thing.
I decided to become the first ever.
That is just adorable. Do you think you could catch me some moths?
Of course. Will 10 be enough?
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We then get a quest to go catch some bioluminescent moths for her, and she'll be delighted. It's an adorable bit in the quest, and I love how players can just stumble upon it by picking an interesting dialogue choice. This makes it clear that Lyra is a wide-eyed lamb, which is dangerous on Greyshaft. Anyways, we then spend the next few quests sabotaging the fort to make it unlivable at Carl's request. He literally wants us to burn their food supply and dump a skeleton in their well.
Where do they keep their food?
I don't know. In some sort of barn, maybe? Or cellar?
Barns and cellars are both quite flammable.
The depths? You want me to set fire to these people's food supplies and force them to starve? That's atrocious!
And the sect taking children from their homes isn't atrocious?
And foul. Okay, maybe Tristan's just throwing dirt on it or something. Oh yeah, that's fire. This comes after telling the leader we won't be fooled like the other country bumpkins and showing peak terminally online behavior. It's uncharacteristically cruel of Tristan, and this sort of behavior is usually a dialogue option, not on rails. I mean, the worshippers of Luna are odd, but they're peaceful and mind their own business. I don't think they deserve this hostility. I get that Carl wants his daughter back, but these seem like pretty extreme measures. After degrading their living situation again and again, we can talk to Lyra once more. Tell Lyra she's wrong. She's suspicious that as soon as we showed up, everything went downhill, which is entirely valid. But ultimately, Tristan successfully deflects like a master manipulator and gets more information about the cult. Lyra says that the leader is planning a ritual with a special drink in... Oh. At that moment, it became clear to me. This is a cultist group suicide, isn't it? The eccentric robed leader, the moon goddess worship, and the supposedly young, impressionable islanders looking for a loving god. Seriously though, these cultists are called kids a few times, but they're straight up grown adults. Given the fantasy setting, these details on their own seem innocuous, casual even, but adding the ritual into the mix recontextualizes everything. This retroactively explains Tristan's poor behavior towards them. The writers, knowing the whole plotline, didn't account for the fact that Tristan would appear cruel in the beginning, as players wouldn't know what comes next. All we know is that this is a non-violent group, and the people of Greyshaft like them. Sure, Carl dislikes the cult, but he's biased because his estranged daughter is in it. The worst accusations he could levy at the cult were that they threw pepper at him and that the people of the island willingly gave the cult too much free food, thus putting themselves in a bad spot. Greyshaft is a bleak place. My initiation into the Freemen casually ended in an immolation and no one batted an eye, so my perception of morality has become a bit skewed. It was only during the line where Lyra talks about the group drinking ceremony that I suspected it, and yeah, watching someone else's playthrough who went with the Order route reveals that they all end up poisoned and spitting geysers of blood, minus Lyra. I think this might be the quintessential of Ash and Steel quest. If I were to boil down the whole game into one string of events, it would be this. Endearing, clunky, and narratively unhinged. In my own playthrough, I managed to get Lyra back to her father, confiscate the herbs, and convince the rest of the cult to leave. Screw those other members, I guess. Lyra and Carl thank me for reuniting them, and Lyra ends things off on a remarkably beautiful note.
I've been thinking, if our goddess never really existed, well, she deserved to. She would have been wonderful.
Perhaps.
Farewell, Tristan. May the hand of the imaginary goddess stroke your hair before she sinks into non-existence forever.
The quest ends with the Free Hunters claiming the fort, which marks the start of Act 3. Kurt gives us our new objective. Go talk to Ratwald. The governor has summoned us, and Kurt thinks it would be a great chance to gain new information. I don't think it sounds like that great of an idea. Go see the insane governor, who our organization directly opposes after we've taken a fort right outside of his city. While Kurt does acknowledge the danger Tristan faces after one of the Falcons stands up for us, apparently the intel we could get is too valuable to ignore. You see, a vital mine on the island recently decided to side with the Free Hunters, but it's gone dark and no information has come out of it, so anything Ratwald says about the matter would be greatly enlightening. On top of the summons, new enemies start appearing around the map called Seeker Husks. They're eerie rogues with black outfits who emit red haze and black tentacles and teleport at you with their opening strikes. It's here where gaining protection from an outfit pays off, as the guards don't play around. Their arrival is probably an omen for what's to come, but they're a manageable threat. We head over to Ratwald's castle and do a little exploration before chatting with him. His castle is overflowing with goodies, so take your time to rob him blind. You're like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the you. At this point in the game, the player has probably suffered through many a bug, so I think it's fair to bug the game back a bit. You remember that infinite item glitch, right? Well, you can find a dexterity potion and some valuables in Ratwald's castle which are easily glitchable. I left with over 300 dex potions and spent probably over an hour and a half drinking all of them. This turned Tristan into a god with the rapier.
Get over here, Jazza!
Now that we've pilfered the entire castle, it's time for our audience with the governor. First we chat with his advisor, Darcy, who drops some lore about conflicts on Mior, another island of the Empire, while we're led to Ratwald and the head of Greyshaft's Council of Elders, Milan. The conversation goes surprisingly smoothly. While Ratwald's ultimately suspicious of Tristan for his association with the Free Hunters, he sends us to the mines to investigate why he's not getting any shipments of new ore anyways.
Figure out what's interrupting the supply, then come back and tell me. Let's say we've constructed an alliance, and make sure your commander knows who's in charge of it. I hope the Free Hunters can be trusted with such a delicate task. If not, the consequences could be particularly tragic.
Upon entering the mines, we're locked in by the guards who have their own agenda separate from Ratwald. This starts the mine arc, where we make friends, kill a snitch with a rock, skewer one of the head guards for his unmentionable sins, find some strange crystals that are poisoning the miners, and start a riot to escape. We then do a little investigation into those crystals we found and uncover their link to a larger conspiracy. After talking to Jesus, a leader on the Free Hunter farm, we find that the harvest has been really bad this time of year. It turns out that a new farmhand was poisoning the ground with crystals similar to those we found in the caves in the mine. So we have to kill him, find his contact, kill him, find that guy's contact, kill him, find another contact. Could you guess? We kill him. We get a map, not before getting stuck on terrain to get it, and go to a cave to fight with cultists who have the same abilities as the Seeker Husks. Their boss puts up a better fight than the rest, but we get the upper hand and kill him regardless. Oh. I sure hope he doesn't have anything we need on his body. So we reload to save and do it all over again. Get the key off his body, and enter a room. These are Ashen emissaries. They're like cracked out Seeker Husks and they want to ruin your day. Putting 2 of them within teleportation distance of the door is cruel, especially on our first encounter with them. I got stun-locked as my camera drifted into the wall. I would suggest luring one out first, then taking on the other. I'm really glad I glitched those dex potions in Ratwald's castle. I feel like this would have been insufferable in a glitchless run. After the fight, we stumble upon this cool lectern with a massive book, and it provides us with ancient knowledge powers. Now we can read from these ancient pillars that dot the landscape and gain some experience when we do it. That's cool and all, but my favorite loot in this cave has to be the heavy coin bag that's susceptible to the infinite loot glitch. Each bag holds about 300 coins and I got over 500 of them. I opened so many purses that my game crashed, which I don't blame the devs for at all, it's a bug after all. It's odd. The more I opened, the more memory the game ate up until it hit critical mass. If there are any Unreal devs watching this video, let me know what you think is happening in the comments. We then go report in back to Ratwald, who promptly throws us in prison for overthrowing the guards in his mines, despite the fact that they were the problem in the first place.
Answer me, Tristan the Freeman. What is going on in my mines at this moment?
I helped the miners riot. We killed the guards and managed to open the gate. You don't have to worry about the sickness. We found an antidote that works, and everyone who was in the mines has been cured.
Killed the guards?
Though Tristan does fumble here by claiming the mines for the Free Hunters. Alone, in front of the powerful, crazy governor.
Yes, Lord Ratwald. The mines are under the Free Hunters' protection now. You can rest assured that...
Treason! Seize this rotten freeman at once! The one time I trust a freeman, and what did it get me? Riots, plague, and murder. No. This is an infection that must be cut off at the source. You will be executed in the square of my city. We'll make sure that every one of those free bastards knows what fate awaits them on Greyshaft. Take him away!
This begins the prison arc, where Tristan becomes edgy and depressed in the Greyshaft version of Alcatraz. His hair is long and his voice is gruff. He's a changed man, fighting in the arena for survival as entertainment for the guards. I've gotta say, being locked into a mine, then a prison for two distinct arcs almost back to back is an interesting narrative choice. All that really happens is Tristan learns how to teleport using new ancient knowledge. He escapes with the wizard who baited him into learning that magic, and Ratwald's estranged brother, who's the rightful governor, thus giving the Freemen an ace up their sleeve. Neat. After we free ourselves from prison, we hunt down Kurt. Now that we're back, he tasks us with getting in touch with Greyshaft's Council of Elders, who are meeting in a library just outside of Ratwald's castle. You know, the same Ratwald who had us sent to prison for treason? Doesn't matter. None of the guards care about Tristan's wanted status, and we can waltz right in and meet the council. The group is having a heated conversation about the current state of Greyshaft. I'll let the scene speak for itself.
The One is furious. He's punishing us as an example.
The saga of Okufa warns of a crimson blight.
The Titan struck our island with lightning.
My dear friends, please, I've already told you we have a possible solution. Freeze to death on the dead volcano? That's your decision, Melan? You said an expedition would be impossible without someone who wields ancient knowledge, and Fanis has been bedridden for the last 4 months.
His breathing grows shallower with every day.
One above, he couldn't even come to the meeting.
Who is that?
Bold youth.
My name is Triss, and I wield ancient knowledge.
What nonsense!
Silly tales.
Perhaps it is best not to jump to conclusions, considering the situation. We can see if our guest speaks the truth.
How can I prove it?
Tell me, Triss, have you seen a pedestal like this one?
Aye.
Then I would ask you to read what is written on it, and all will be clear. Well, Tristan spoke true, which means we have someone who can go to the Icy Ridge and save the island. I hope there are no objections. Unanimous decision. I will therefore enlighten him with all the details. This meeting is officially over.
There's a bit to unpack here. First off, when did the Titan strike the island with lightning? What even is the Titan? What's the Crimson Blight? Well, after talking with Milan, we immediately get a pop-up explaining the Red Blight. How organic. What the Titan is eludes me, though. With the Council's only member who wields ancient knowledge incapacitated by illness, it's up to us to travel to the Icy Ridge and claim the power that lies there. Before that, we report back to Kurt to fill him in on the meeting. He gives us a laundry list of things to do while we're in the Icy Ridge. He wants us to find a legendary forge used by past Greyshaftians, honored ancestors called Prime Striders, as well as chart a path to it. He thinks it'll aid in the upcoming battle against Ratwald's forces, which makes sense, weapons are always nice for battle. He also wants us to summon Irvin to the fort, so on our way to the tundra area we stop by Irvin's house, and he's surprised to see us. Apparently he spent a small fortune on information as to where we were, and he was about to go on a solo mission to save us from the prison.
You were going after me?
I was going to get you out of there, aye. Do you really think I would just leave you there to rot?
Irvin.
Don't Irvin me. It's always Irvin this, Irvin that, but you found your way out even without me. I wonder how you did it.
Out of everyone we've met in Greyshaft, Irvin has been the most skilled and reliable, so it's nice to hear that he's impressed by our escape, too. The path to the Icy Ridge is south of the Free Hunter territory, and the area is teeming with beasts and bandits, but at this point, Tristan is too powerful to be opposed. The tundra is beautiful and completely different from the rest of Greyshaft. It's desolate, with no NPCs or functional towns, but it's oddly calming. There are a few major points of interest, like the Cannibals Camp, an ancient ruins or two, and the Prime Strider's Forge we were sent to find, all of which feel utterly unique compared to what we've seen so far in the game. We eventually locate the ancient knowledge on top of a glacier, and it gives us Sith lightning powers, which are effective on enemies and crystals? That's oddly specific. Not these crystals, though. This tundra has quite a few of those seeker husks and ashen emissaries, and they clash with the skeletons and undead, implying they're unnatural invaders to the island, possibly a sign of the incoming invasion. The emissaries are jumping everyone now, just look at this. Seriously, we got bros moving like Utah. As we're leaving the area after securing everything we need, we're given word that Ratwald has started a preemptive strike and sending his men all across Greyshaft. We're tasked with defending the Free Hunter territory, and the attack is underwhelming? It's like a handful of Ratwald's men, and no one seems to care that the area is under attack. Not even the guards. One of the Free Hunter Falcons is getting jumped by Ratwald's men, and the Free Hunter guards are just chilling by the gate a few feet away. It's all very strange. It's time to wrap up the preparations for the final confrontation with Ratwald. And to do this, we need to recruit the Men of War and get the Order Knights to stay out of the way while we're overthrowing the Governor. Both are rather simple tasks. The Knights fold with little pressure. Nerist is too old and worn from his past battles to fight, but he's willing to play an advisory role. And the bandit leader Mazar just wants a sum of gold that's negligible for this late in the game. Once again, it's a lot of running back and forth across locations we've already cleared, maybe occasionally being jumped by ashen emissaries. Once all the pieces are in place, we go talk with Kurt, but apparently Nerist hasn't checked in yet, so we go remind the old man that he promised to.
It's...
Sirdar? From the start of the game?
It's been ages. There's no one else here. Kill him.
Man, that kinda hit me in the feels a bit. Nerist has been nothing but helpful to us since the start of the game. But I'm also entirely bewildered by Sirdar's return and his association with the Ashen Emissaries. It doesn't make much narrative sense knowing what we do in the opening, but let's give the story a little more room to breathe. Before we do that, let's lay Nerist to rest. Okay, that's a chest I dug up from the start of the game.
Don't know what this barely alive of yours is, Tristan. On Greyshaft, you're either alive or you're dead. You'll see.
With all the pieces in place, with all the buildup of multiple acts, the war with Ratwald begins. And by war, I mean 4 or 5 dudes go to overthrow him. That's right, it's just a few guys, Tristan included. There's no change to the city or outskirts, everyone's just going about their day. I was expecting dark skies, peasants cowering, a side objective to blow down the front gate, maybe even some catapults. What I got was a trickling of guards defending the castle. At this point in my playthrough, with Tristan hopped up on hundreds of dex potions, it was a massacre. Honestly, easily slaughtering the guards and enjoying the kill cams was the best part. Look at how smug Tristan looks. We push our way into the castle, Ratwald runs and leaves us to fight his bodyguard. We eviscerate the bodyguard, then we chase Ratwald up to the roof. Tristan urges the man to see reason and surrender, and before we have to make any sort of choice, Ratwald is struck by a random blast of lightning and falls to his death. believe it or not, this is only the start of the most confusing part of the game. Act 5 begins with a cutscene.
But the threat to the island has not vanished. You all know about the Prime Strider's monument. You know about the lighting and the glow now emanating from it.
And the Titan!
Yes, the Titan threatening Greyshaft.
Fellow elders, I believe the Titan is still striving to protect the island.
What do you mean, Milan?
I suspect it was he who threw the lightning, sensing a threat from the monument. He was unable to destroy it, so is now preparing to strike in another manner. And I fear that in his desire to protect Greyshaft, the Titan may inflict irreparable harm on all who live here.
What can we do?
We have a duty to help him. We must destroy the dangerous monument ourselves. Tristan has acquired the ancient knowledge that lay dormant on the icy ridge. It was no accident that the Prime Striders brought it to the island. I believe they hope to overpower that which is now keeping the monument from being destroyed.
That means Tristan must use the power he has gained to destroy the monument before it is too late.
I am ready.
So be it. Tristan will destroy the monument and pacify the Titan. I declare this meeting over.
I still have no idea what Milan is talking about with the Titan thing, nor the monument, and the only lightning I saw was cast at Ratwald. Apparently that big statue in the outskirts is called the Prime Strider's Monument? Yeah, going back over my clips from the start of the game, that's what Jiri's saying when the audio bugs out.
Idea of our men sending out patrols, but they told me there are more important things to worry about.
What's that statue?
So I'm doing it on my own for now.
That's the
Standing Prime Strider's Monument. An eternal tribute to the first folk to set foot on Greyshaft.
It's not glowing like the council said. I went to investigate it, found the back open, went into a portal and got soft-locked in a cube? We reload and finally teleport in and have to fight a bunch of what I assume are our ancestors judging by the quest log. That's one way to put them to rest. Look at how well I'm honoring them. Anyways, these are the crystals we can destroy with our Sith lightning powers, and it's one of the only times we use this ability to destroy crystals. The other being random, specific crystals scattered around the island and seemingly only when the red blight is active, but I don't know for sure. Once we wrap up with the crystals, we get a cutscene. Oh no, our golem's getting dog-walked by the Gamerlights golem.
command! You've killed us all!
Who is this?
That is Fanis, a wielder of ancient knowledge, like you.
You must fix this! Do you hear me? You must! We will all die!
Well, what can I do?
The High Fort. The High Fort can save us. It was built on bones. The True Blood buried their leaders there, along with their greatest treasure, which protected the island even before the Striders came.
So, there's some sort of weapon beneath the fort.
But only the True Blood of Grey Shaft can awaken it. Do you understand? The True Blood! Only death awaits, otherwise death for all of us!
We will take care of him. Go, Triss.
I'm still processing the cutscene after Ratwall died. I'm not ready for any of this. Apparently we did something wrong, and now we need to find somebody with the True Blood of Greyshaft and bring them to the basement of the fort outside of the city to undo all of this and stop the cultist invasion. We head to the library with Irvin to look through ancestral records, and we come across Milan. Apparently he's with the enemy, and he's also the one who nuked our ship with lightning at the beginning of the game. He explains that the Prime Strider monument protected the Titan, and the Titan protected the island. He blasts Irvin with lightning and starts a fight with a Dex-lusted Tristan, and that ends as well as you'd expect it to. Oh no, I kicked him through the wall. I sure hope he didn't have anything we needed to loot. No! We reload a save, go back to the library, fight Milan again, careful not to kick him through a wall this time, and get the list. Irvin dusts off the lightning strike like a pro, and then we go over the few remaining names of individuals with the True Blood of Greyshaft.
Some of the names are crossed off.
I imagine those are people who can no longer help us. Who is left?
Valar.
Yes. He was a knight. Hung himself. Dead and buried. Who else?
Just two more names. Kristoff and...
What did you say?
Kristoff. Do you know him?
No. I misheard you.
Come on, Irvin. This is not the time for keeping secrets.
I said I misheard you. I do not know him. What is the other name?
Dinesh. He's a rune master. I've met him.
Then you must get to him.
What about you?
There is no time to waste. Those scum are summarily executing everyone with the True Blood of Greyshaft in their veins. Milan might not be the only one making his way down that list. Go, Triss. I will make it to a physician on my own.
Look, I know it's a lot of jank and odd story beats, but I had to stop a few times to appreciate this set piece. The golem stands ominously in the background, summoning more cultists by the second. The sounds of battle are prominent. Peasants are gathering outside of the castle. This is what I thought overthrowing Ratwald should have been, but I'm glad it's happening now, as confused as I am. Then I got stuck on the spikes by the gate. We're then sent to Dinesh's shop to summon him, and we run into... Captain Gellert? From the start of the game? Well, he survived that sick headshot, and now he's here to help. It's revealed that the Rune Master is actually, conveniently, already at the fort. Gellert offers to help us escape the besieged city by sea, so we can get to Dinesh and end the cultist invasion. Soon after reaching land, I found my house ruined and burning. It's a bold move which adds impact to the cultist invasion, as I put a lot of coin into fixing that place up, and was quite proud of it. It only minorly subtracts from the moment that everything is floating.
Oh, disgusting. Clearly there's a pest in here.
There's bigger problems here, Tristan. We fight our way through cultists and demons all the way back to the fort. We find the Rune Master and take him to the basement, but Serdar is waiting for us. Our last hope is skewered like a kebab, and we tangle with Serdar, who sends Tristan flying into a crystal. It reacts to Tristan's blood, repulsing the cultist and destroying the evil golem. Tristan, in a Starshin, contains the true blood of Greyshaft. Sirdar teleports away and Tristan leaves the basement victorious. But how is this possible? Isn't Tristan from Astarta? Don't worry, this isn't the true blood of Greyshaft is the friends we made along the way type of deal. If you recall correctly, Tristan was an orphan. Talking through the situation with Irvin, he reveals that he's our father, sending us away to Astarta with our aunt when we were just a baby, our previous name being Kristoff.
Just two more names, Kristoff and...
What did you say?
Kristoff. Do you know him?
No. I misheard you.
He was put on alert back at the library, but this whole event just confirms it. Irvin was out drinking when the last blight hit, as home life was rough, and Tristan's mother died in his absence. He felt too much shame to raise us. Then again, he's been unknowingly making up for his absence since we set foot in the city. He's acted as something of a father figure for Tristan throughout the entire game, saving us from the assassin, helping us in the cove, fighting that bug boss with us. He was prepared to storm the prison to save Tristan, and he was proud that Tristan escaped by himself. It's a touching moment that was set up well, ruined slightly by the camera angle. But there's no time to dwell on that. The city of Greyshaft needs reinforcements, and with the golem down, our path is clear, and we must act quickly. That is after a rousing performance of the Greyshaftian national anthem.
From mountains great big to the wet grass below, the land is embraced by the morning sun's glow. A land of brave warriors, of miners and crafts. It's time to wake up, oh Greyshaft. From bountiful fields and cold echoing caves to snow-covered hills and raw wave-beaten capes, like a wonderful beast from a place far away, the Greyshaft is lying in wait. Our banners are dancing the cold wind that blows. This island was born of our struggles and woes, a refuge from ashes, a respite from blight. Greyshaft protects us from plight. Let long ships at sea find wind in their sails. Let those on the deck see our light through the haze. May the waves pass you by and crash over rocks. May your crew reach Greyshaft's old docks.
Why are you aura farming? People are dying!
Fights as many and many as one, like steel in cool water, souls hardened in war. Word of their liar's blade, defeat the ashen blight. Stand up, proud and fight. Word of
Take off your wings.
We fight our way through the outskirts, into the city, and towards the harbor as arrows fly and chunks of debris crash around us. Once again, this is what I hoped overthrowing Ratwald would be. Regardless, we enter the harbor and find chunks of earth floating unnaturally. And we climb up. We're greeted by Sirdar, who's bested Kurt and Irvin. He thanks us for a potion we gave him at the start of the game. A really nice touch, actually. Though the whole situation is a bit odd, after all. He let us leave with that letter that set most of these events in motion. Why didn't he just kill Tristan and take the letter? At least we'll finally get some answers.
Riddle me this. Are you so sure we need to be on opposite sides?
Oh no. It's a we're not so different you and I speech.
Me? Bloodthirsty? How many have you killed? People? Animals? Rare creatures? Don't pretend like you haven't left a trail of bones in your wake. Perhaps you think you're better than me because you help others. But why were you really helping them? It's all self-interest in the end. Get a little more for yourself and have some fun in the process.
Don't compare me to you.
We're not so different, Tristan. We both hear the same call.
You're mad.
Am I? Aren't you striving to become stronger or richer? Reach the top with no consequences. The only difference between us is that I answered the call and accepted it. But you're still caught up in lies and ideals that aren't even your own. But no matter. There is one who watches us. Really watches us. Not like that weak, silent liar. And he is patient. The king hasn't cared about anything for a long time now. But he brings true change. Good change. Justice, do you see? True justice.
And just who is he?
You really want to know? Then come with me. I'll tell you everything. What? Them? Forget about them. They're nothing to you. It wasn't so long ago that all you could think about was leaving Greyshaft.
A lot has changed.
Right.
This answers nothing. What was the point? What are the cult's goals? Why did any of this happen? Why didn't they invade after the ash falls? Wouldn't it be better to attack a weakened Greyshaft afterwards? I'm so confused. Killing him doesn't get us answers either. He just drops a few lines about choosing where to die and dies.
Do you think you've won?
I know I have.
Now, Cardova, don't act all high and mighty. I know you. If you heard the call, it's over. The 8th won't let you go.
The 8th? What 8th?
A funeral pyre or the cold ground.
Answer me.
I never could decide.
Hopefully the final scene will clear things up.
A rare sight indeed. It's not everyone gets to see the aftermath of a battle like this.
We won.
I'm not so sure.
Why not?
We were barely able to fend off the vanguard. The real army will likely be on their heels. And against that, we don't stand a chance. We need to gather everyone left and leave the island.
But you know that's impossible, right?
Yes. The catapults were launched at the harbor for a reason. Their targets were ships, not people.
So we're staying here.
So, we're staying here.
Ships! 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 Headed this way!
That's the Astartian Navy. I welcome you to Greyshaft.
My name is Berto, commander of the 5th Royal Flotilla.
His Majesty, in his generosity, is sending you support and protection.
We are grateful to the king for his aid and accept it gladly.
If you'll allow me, I'd like to suggest getting the survivors onto the ships. We've had reports that enemy forces are headed this way from Nemes and Basalt already. Considering that the island has been destroyed, there's no point in defending it. We need to be on our way as soon as possible.
What's been destroyed?
Grey Shaft, sir.
No, it has not. We are Grey Shaft.
What? Well, the ships are gone, the walls are destroyed, our Titan Golem got folded like a pool chair, looks like we're doomed. Hey, I've been sent by the king to help evacuate because Greyshaft was destroyed and that apocalyptic blight is still looming. No, we are Greyshaft. Why would they do this? I get the message, I really do. The point is that Greyshaft's people are tenacious and their pride is linked to the blood, sweat, and tears they poured into living on this island and making it their home, but was the ore farming really necessary? I like to imagine the awkward silence in the seconds after this shot and then, so, are you boarding? Yes, let us gather our things. Man, this closing act just gave me more questions than I got answers, and I'm not even sure if we'll get another installment or if I'd even want to play one. The slow burn of the cultist invasion was set up pretty well, with the attack on the cove, the assassination attempt, the Seeker Husks and Ashen emissaries appearing, the Crystal Conspiracy, and so on. But Acts 4 and 5 dropped the ball so hard that the lead-up barely matters. Of Ashen Steel has bewildered me. From the bugs, to the story, to the gameplay, there's some rough edges to this gem. I know I dragged viewers through a lot of the story, but I don't think I could illustrate the never-ending series of narrative 1-2 punches this game was otherwise. That being said, it isn't all bad by any means, it's just the game never really hits a flow state without stumbling over its bugs and narrative oddities. While the dev team seems to fix more bugs with every patch, they also make odd choices like increasing the cost of attribute points, thus making the game grindier. As I finish this script, they fixed the infinite item glitch too. That's fine and all, as it was a bug. And that patch also added an infinite XP bug, don't tell the devs. The real problem here is that thinking about playing the game without an infinite supply of stamina potions makes me shiver. I don't want to play as a Tristan who's hit with an asthma attack every 20 paces as he runs halfway across Greyshaft. The fact that playing this game glitchless sounds like anathema isn't a great sign. It's really unfortunate too, because I generally like the characters, the lore, and the setting, but too much of the game just feels like pulling teeth. For every well-executed moment or cool fight, I was hit by 5 bugs, a narrative misfire, and a plethora of odd design choices. With all that in mind, we at Gamingtrend give Of Ash and Steel a final score of 50.